welcome to Dustin's Kaleidoscope. I am Dustin, and today I have the pleasure of being here with Ann Vollum, who is an artist, an author, just an all-around great artistic person, and I'm so glad you're here at the show today. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm very happy to be here.
So I actually met you last year at the Bazaar, which is an annual event that they have in Maplewood, and I was really intrigued by your art, so I wanted you to be on the show. So since then, I've seen your show or seen your pieces at the Baird Center that is in the current art show, but I wanted to get an idea of your background and how you started making art, what types of art. So first of all, about your background. Do you have a formal background in art?
I don't actually, no. My background is really that I grew up in Africa. I was born in Africa.
Okay, which country?
Well, it used to be Salisbury, Rhodesia.
Okay.
It's now Harare, Zimbabwe.
Okay.
And then I lived in South Africa for a very short time, and then mainly grew up in Zambia, where I went to school till I was 11.
Oh, okay.
And then, like a good Brit, I was sent off to boarding school in England.
And during this time, were you drawing at this time? Did you take art lessons or anything like that?
I don't remember having art lessons at school. I remember having pottery lessons.
Oh, okay.
I remember doing pottery at school. And I always made art. I remember going to various art classes, and I remember doing a lot of photography because my father worked for Kodak, so
okay.
We had these black and white cameras, and we used to develop film and print it in the bathroom. The bathrooms would all be turned into dark rooms.
Oh, so it sounds like you come from a very artistic family, whether it's photography or doing the pottery yourself or that kind of thing.
And, well, the pottery's not such a big part. That was just school. And then when I was about 10, a family friend who left Zambia, who was an oil painter, gave me all his paints. Oh. And I still use his brushes.
You're kidding.
To this day, I still have them. And so I was always painting. And then at school, we had a very good, one of the few good things about the school, we had a very good art department, and so I did art through high school.
Okay. Okay. So were you focused mainly, you were just doing general art?
I was doing general art. Okay. It was realistic art. We actually had life drawing, which was unusual for a girls' boarding school, high
And when you
school.
say life drawing, is this just a person who's posing for you, or do you mean a life drawing like a pears and apples?
Oh, no, it's somebody
posing.
posing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We also did, drawing from still life.
Oh, still life. Okay.
And then after that, I studied architecture.
Is that a big switch? It seems like it's a big switch, or are they related somehow?
Well, where I went to school, if you weren't considered to be totally stupid, you were only allowed to go into an art career if you were considered to be really dense.
Oh, really? Okay, okay.
And so if you were considered to be at least relatively smart and you were artistic, that equaled architecture. And so there was no question about not doing architecture.
Oh, so everybody was basically...
I was channeled
okay.
into architecture, which I studied for 3 years.
Oh, and then how did you go from architecture to doing what you do now? What was the big
I
jump?
decided I didn't want to be an architect, so I then went to the London College of Printing.
Okay.
And I did a year's course there, which was really it was print and origination, and it was really people from overseas who were coming and learning about the different printing methods. And then, for instance, one of my colleagues went back to run, I think it was the Times of Zambia. So they were going to work in the print industry.
Oh, okay.
And then I kind of I went to work in the print industry, which I found completely boring after the first week. And so I handed my notice in, and they had a design firm, and they said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I want to be a designer." So I went off to their design firm.
Okay.
And so I learned to be a graphic designer on the job.
Very nice, very nice.
And then I worked as a graphic designer for many years.
Okay, and then when did you start creating the art that we see before us now?
This particular art probably at the end of the 90s, I would say.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
for a long time I did realistic art.
Okay.
And then I did abstract art, influenced by Howard Hodgkin.
Yes.
You know his art?
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And then when my first child was born, when my daughter was born, and it's not good to use oil paints, of course, when you're pregnant, so I started drawing more. Okay. And then slowly the beasts developed. Okay. And so I would take these moleskin, accordion moleskin notebooks, and they're very portable. You can, drawing in pen, you can start and stop. Right. And it doesn't matter how long you draw for.
Exactly. So
and so I would take these with me, and I'd go and draw in cafes, and have even in the stroller next to me while she was sleeping, I'd be drawing, and then we'd go off and do something.
Probably much more convenient and safer, of course, than having oil paints where it takes forever to dry, and you can't just pick up an oil paint and take it to Starbucks or anywhere like that.
And then the beasts just sort of started coming.
So explain what the beasts are. So you have a company or creatures called Beastly.
I have BeastlyBeasties.
Yes. Okay. So explain what that is.
Well, I came up with this name, BeastlyBeasties. At the time, beastly was like a slang word that was very popular with the kids. So my daughter was saying beastly a lot. Oh, okay. And it means, you know, that it's cool and that it's awesome. Right. And so I thought, well, BeastlyBeasties, this works. So it became BeastlyBeasties.
Okay. And so that's how you started.
So that's how I started. I think of myself more of an artist rather than having a company that creates products to sell. Okay. Making the art is more important to me. So the things that I do, I have some T-shirts that I've put beasts on. Okay. I have the bags, which I've just started doing.
It's very nice.
So these are just free-drawn and
wait, when you say they're free-drawn, that you
I don't plan it. I just I painted these on.
Okay, I thought okay. I thought it was actually like you made the design and
no. It's all hand done. Cool. So I drew it on with a silver Sharpie, and then I go over with special textile paint. Okay. And so that it's permanent, and so it's all done with a fine brush.
Oh, that's very cool. So each bag is different.
Each bag would be totally different, and I don't. So cool. When I start, I have no idea what I'm going to do on it. It just kind of comes to me. And I noticed that. So this would be the name BeastlyBeasties. It could mean any of these different things that are on here, right? Or do you just mean in general the whole premise of doing this? All my art is based on these creatures. Okay. They're all different, but they mostly all have sharp teeth and long tongues for some reason. Okay. And then I'm fascinated with patterns, so excuse me. You know, you get a lot of repeat pattern. And on the bags, this is just basically outline. But when I'm drawing, it's a lot more detailed. Oh, okay. Okay. And I have seen your most recent piece, which is currently at the Baird.
And that one is massive. It's, how big is that?
It's two separate pieces, which are like 56 inches by 54 inches.
Right. Okay.
So it's a big piece, and then the shadow, one of them's a cutout, and it's all cut out with an X-Acto knife.
Okay. I do remember seeing all of the
So
very
yeah,
small
so I
pictures.
basically I drew it on one side, and then I sat on the floor. I put a cutting mat underneath, and I cut it all by hand.
Oh, okay.
And then I used it as a stencil on the other
on the
hanging
other piece. So you have, just so that people know, you have two pieces at the Bear.
Two pieces, but it makes one book because it's a book art show.
Exactly. So the two together, even though they are not physically together, they're physically near each other, but they're not touching.
They relate to each other, and then the cutout one makes a shadow on the wall, which becomes like a page of the book.
Exactly. Okay, yeah, and they're beautiful. So if you get a chance to see it, that would be great for everybody who's watching. But one thing that I did notice is that you don't just do paper art. You don't just do the purses. You have books. You have like such a variety. Like how one thing that I noticed though is that to me, your art looks a little bit like you may have had some influence from living in Africa.
Very definitely, yes.
And is that intentional, or is that just because you lived there for such a long time?
I think it just seeped into my psyche.
Yes.
The beast just suddenly started coming.
Okay.
And I did for, I think 5 years or so. I actually did a blog on Tumblr, which is called A Beastie a Day, where I did one drawing every day.
Oh man,
And I posted it for at least 4 years, I think. It was 3 or 4 years, and then after that, I found that doing a drawing a day was restrictive because I could only do a certain size. So then I started posting a piece of a drawing.
Oh, I see. So
and
that
now
way
I
you
don't
get bigger
really
pieces.
now I don't really post there very much anymore.
Okay, is it archived in case people want to see?
It's all up there.
Okay,
you
perfect.
can go back through the archives and see the history.
That would be great. That would be great to see what your thought process was then versus now, and to see how your pieces have evolved. We have like a minute left, and so what I think I'll do is I want to wrap up, but I do want to, just in the few seconds that we have, can you tell people how long the exhibit is at the Bear?
The exhibit is on until April 22nd.
Okay.
And it's open Monday through Friday from 10 till 4.
Okay.
And on Saturdays, I believe, from 10 to 4.
Okay.
It's closed on Sundays and on April 14th.
Perfect. Yes, that way people will know where. And the Baird Center is right here in South Orange.
But it's a really great show to go see.
Yes, there's a lot of
very
interesting
talented artists in it.
Yes. So we're actually going to take a break right now. We'll be right back. I'm Dustin, and I will see you in a few moments.
After 17 years working as a mason, Mike was laid off. I met him when he came into the library looking for help. He found a job opening, but the application was only online. Mike said he'd spent his entire life around tools, but had never used a computer. I showed him how, and he ended up applying for numerous jobs online. I saw Mike the other day. His new computer skills paid off. He's working again.
New Jersey libraries are transforming lives. Tell us your story.
Hi, and welcome back to Dustin's Kaleidoscope. I am here with Ann Vollum, who is an artist, and she makes the BeastlyBeasties, among other things. And the first part of the show, we were talking about your background, how you started as an artist, some of your art, but I wanted to get more into the details. So I see you have a book in your hand.
That's right, yes.
And if you could hold it up, just so that our camera over here could get it, that would be great. And it's The Ogre Downstairs.
So
you can go ahead and explain it.
This is what we call an altered book.
Okay.
And one of the attractions of doing a book is that you can do lots of artwork and it doesn't take up much storage space.
Oh, okay. And what do you mean by altered book?
An altered book means this is an actual book. It's a reject from the library.
Oh.
And so I took the book, and I've actually drawn on every single
That
page.
is awesome.
So there's something like 200 pages in this book. So this was worked on for a good part of a year, I would say. And
that's amazing.
so one of
A
the
book within a
things
book.
I like when I work is it's always kind of a bit like a puzzle,
Right.
that everything has to connect. So for instance, this beast here, he doesn't just stop there. Well, let's hope he doesn't. Yep, no.
He's on the other side.
He's on the other side. So there's
Okay.
always a flow that goes through.
Oh, wow. So I needless to say, you have to work on this sequentially. Or maybe not.
Not necessarily, no.
Really? Okay.
I think it was mostly sequential. None of it's planned in advance. I just go for it. So the beasts were drawn, and then I went back in with a calligraphy pen, because I'm a calligrapher.
Wow, okay.
So-
and you got that really...
And then I did this
detail.
more detailed background, because usually I work on dividing the beasts themselves into different patterns,
Okay.
which you'll see in the other book, whereas in this one, partly because there's so many pages.
Oh, okay.
It's
And the
simpler.
color, is
And then
that
the
something that's designated only to the beast? Because I know this one is yellow.
Some of them, I went through some of the beasts are different colors. Some have no color.
And you even have a cutout.
There are cutouts. So I like doing cutouts. One of the things with a cutout is that it basically has to work, and it's very easy to do a cutout here, and then you turn, and you might have drawn this bit already, and then you turn it, and
Then you have to match
it has
up
to
the
work on this
branches.
page too. So there's a lot of mental kind
Wow.
of
It's like
puzzling
a puzzle,
it out,
yes.
which I enjoy doing, and so
So you call this an altered book?
this is called an altered book because it's
Did you create this, or
No.
I've never heard of this? Okay.
no, lots of people do them. Some people draw on the book pages. Some people fold book pages. Some people take the old books and carve them into things.
Oh, okay. I've seen that, but I've never
Yeah.
seen anything like this. Is really
So
interesting.
this one, there's a lot of color, and this is all done with liquid acrylic.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask what that was. Okay.
It comes in it's thin, and it comes in a bottle, and so you just paint it on like watercolor or ink,
Right.
and it dries really quickly, and it has these wonderful.
Oh, and I just
bright
noticed there's another
colours.
cutout right there.
Yeah.
So if you turn the
So
page.
if I turn this, you see
So then the yellow
the
is
bat,
there.
and the bat sort of continues, and the yellow's here.
Oh, okay.
And I think the snake was blue all the way through. And then I like doing circles a lot for some reason, and making patterns from them. Let's see. See, here's another cutout. And then
I like how they're
It
all
works
related.
so
That's just
that-
so interesting. So is that sort of the purpose of an altered book? Like you have to have each page, or is that
no,
just,
that's
your
just
thing?
me. That's my thing.
Okay. Okay.
That's my thing, that it has to continue.
Okay.
It's
That's-
just like a game I play.
That's really. And you said this took about a year.
I think this took pretty close to a year.
And when you're doing something like this, and with all of the other art, do you create your art linearly, or do you go from this? Maybe you work on this a few hours a day, or the whole day, and the next day you will create this, and then the next day, or do you focus on one thing and one piece of art? And
No, I
create it?
usually have several things going.
Yeah.
And with this, I don't really recall the order that I did it, but I most likely drew the rough beasts in first, and then maybe I drew the background in, and then it didn't seem complete, so then I started adding color, and then you add...
Oh,
I
I
think
see.
I just started off with maybe coloring the snake, and then that's not enough, so you keep adding
on.
and then you do something,
So
and
how do
it
you
doesn't
know?
work anymore, and so then you
So how do you know when you're done? If you keep adding and
just get a feeling for
Okay.
it, you know?
okay. So I don't want us to run out of time. So I
So-
want us to get to the next.
This
This is a book too, or
This
what
is
would
a
you-
book,
Okay.
and this was really...
What is it? Before you even open it up, what is this? Is this just paper
This
or?
is paper which is covered with acrylic
Oh, okay.
paint. I painted it with acrylic. I
Okay.
paint with like a squeegee, a
Ah.
little rubber wedge.
Okay.
So I covered, it was paper that I had which wasn't any good for drawing on
Okay.
with a fine pen.
Right.
So I painted it with acrylic.
Oh, that's
And then
interesting.
this one, this is
Oh.
the start of the book.
Wow.
So this one is cut out of the paper.
And I don't know if the cameras can pick this up, but this is, you're holding it fine.
Yeah.
That's actually a cutout. That's
Yeah,
not,
this is
yes.
This is a cutout, and then you get the play of the shadow as you turn the pages. And so this, I wanted to do a cutout book.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know how I was going to bind it. I always
Oh,
figure
okay.
out the binding right at the end.
Okay.
And then it usually keeps me awake for several nights while I
trying
while
to
I'm
figure that
figure out
How did
am
you
I
end
gonna
up
do
finding this?
I made these like paper hinges to hinge the pages together.
I see.
And then it has a cloth
Oh, I see.
hinge
Okay.
at the back
Got it.
over the spine. And so with this, I did
It's like
the
vellum, right?
yeah, I did the cutouts first. Whoops. Get that one.
And
back.
that is paper, right? That's
This,
not.
no, this is actually Tyvek.
Oh, the same thing that you would put on a house that's.
Yep, or
Being
the
renovated or-
envelopes that you get from
From-
the FedEx or the
Yes.
post office.
This is very
But
durable.
This is very durable. It's easy to cut in some ways,
Yeah.
and in other ways it has these fibers in it, so it can actually be quite tricky getting the pieces out and the corners. Sometimes you just get these sort of fibers stuck there.
Oh, I see.
Paper is actually, in some respects, easier to cut than
Really?
this because it's
Has
easier
fewer
to lose
fibers
that.
or less
So I
tough, I guess.
did. I think there were maybe at least 10 of these. I
Okay.
did the cutouts, and then originally I was just going to show them on the wall,
Oh,
and then
okay.
it was like, oh, that's not really going to work. So then it was like, okay, I have to bind it, and so then it was figuring out. I had all these different coloured backgrounds that I painted,
And
and
that's
they
what
all,
these are.
That's what these are, and they all look different. The cutouts all look different according to which background.
Really nice.
So I had to pair them to the background that I liked best,
and now I'm just noticing
and then
that
trying to
this
find
is the
it
same.
so that the background on this side, went with this side. And then I decided I needed another layer of complexity. So I
That
did
is-
these overlays, and I wrote the little.
Oh, the little same.
I like Edward Gorey a lot, so
Okay.
I like these sort of little kind of slightly weird sort of non sequitur
Right.
texts. And so
That's beautiful. What is
And-
this? What is this acrylic or?
this is the acrylic again.
Okay.
And then it's acrylic ink put on with a calligraphy pen.
Okay.
And so this is the more kind of loose style that was used in the other book.
Okay. Before I forget, can you tell people what your website address is so that if they're interested in finding out more about your work, where they can find you on social media if you have an Instagram?
I have
account?
Instagram,
Okay.
which is new.
Okay. And what's your
I put
handle?
my first posts on it today.
All right,
When I was gallery
awesome.
sitting. So it's just Ann Vollum.
Okay.
And if you Google Ann Vollum or BeastlyBeasties,
Oh, okay. It'll
different
show
stuff's going to come up. I'm on Facebook for BeastlyBeasties, and Tumblr is beastlybeasties.com.
Okay.
I don't have a website.
Okay. And
So
it's just
it's
Beastly.
BeastlyBeasties, all one word.
Okay. And it's spelled just like it, BEASTL.
Yes.
Okay, Beasties. Okay. I wanted to make sure
Yeah,
there wasn't
you
like
get
an
it.
interesting.
No, it's
Okay.
just, and you'll get close enough that
It'll turn
That it
up in
will
a
turn
Google
up.
search. Okay.
So let's see, what else do we have? I think to,
Oh, wow.
I think
That's
I
a
like
beautiful
doing
color.
turtles or tortoises.
Okay.
So this, I drew it, and then at the end, I did the color overlay, and then it didn't seem quite enough, so then
You added more.
I added more,
Of course.
I always have
It looks
to-
really pretty.
add more. So
The colors are really beautiful.
thank you.
We'll only have 2 minutes, so I
2
wanted to make
minutes
sure
left.
we get everything that you wanted to cover. I know we covered the bags. We've covered your books. I mean, obviously, we covered the really big pieces that are at the Baird right now. We covered the altered book. Is there anything else that you think we should know?
The studio tour
Oh, okay.
is coming up in June,
Okay.
so I will be at the Baird.
Oh, great.
I hope.
Okay.
I'll be doing it. I think I'll be at the Baird.
Oh,
That's where
that's-
I usually am.
Okay.
And it's going to be 2 days this year
Okay,
instead
great.
of one, and I think it's June 3rd and 4th.
Okay.
It's the first weekend in June anyway,
Yes, we'll.
and that's a really fun kind of
Yeah, I've been
time
to those
go
before.
and look at various people's studios and just see the artists.
Okay,
And
that would be great.
otherwise, I'm going to be working on another piece cutting from cloth.
Oh, really? Okay, so this is have you started on it yet, or is this a brand new
I
one?
have a small one.
Oh, and what's
which
small to
was-
you? Because the one that you have in the Baird is, like you said, 54 inches by 56.
It's probably about the size of the spread of this book.
Oh, okay.
It's the offcut from the Baird piece.
Oh, okay. So
I
it'll-
had an end piece, so it's the offcut of that
Okay. And you're going to be
I'm busy
using that.
working on, but I want to do another large size piece.
And you'll be doing that after you do this piece, or the
Yes.
smaller piece. Well,
Yes.
Well, Ann, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for telling us all about your wonderful art. It's really beautiful, and I can really see the influence from your days when you were growing up in Africa. So thank you so much for being here. I'm Dustin. This is Dustin's Kaleidoscope, and we will see you next time. Bye.